Today I am going to make a rather different video, which is not a lab update or a road trip, but just a trip. I will be going from Kassel to London to help out with some EV stuff. And since I'm in the region, I will also jump over to Ireland, and guess who I will be meeting there. So today I want to talk about a little bit about the journey planning, because the straightforward way would be to book a flight from Frankfurt to London and then be there. But yes, as we all know, flying has huge emissions, and these emissions are going to cost us later on, or are already costing us now in forms of droughts and other stuff. So I'm thinking the price that's being displayed on the internet offers isn't the true price, but we have to add up quite a lot of more that we pay one way or the other. So what I'm trying to say is flying has become sort of a non-option for me, meanwhile, and especially on rather short trips like this. So today I wanted to just compare the flight against other public transport, well, basically trains, and just to see what we lose or win. So the first leg of the journey goes from Kassel to London, and if we were to take a flight, that would of course go from Frankfurt to London, not from Kassel. And I've researched this a bit, and apparently you can get a flight for 120 euros Frankfurt to London. Now let's think about this time-wise. So normally, not normally, but the flight, if it's not delayed, will leave at 5 o'clock, which means we have to be there at 3 o'clock. Which means we have to leave Kassel at around 11:30 or something. So the entire journey will take from 11 to 18 o'clock. Do you say that? 18 o'clock? I don't know. And that means 8 hours, because we have 1 hour of time shift between Britain and Germany. So 8 hours for the flight. 120 euros plus, 30 euros for the train to the flight, so 150 euros for the flight. Let's look at the train. So looking for a train is quite straightforward in Germany. You just go to the Deutsche Bahn website and enter your destination, start and destination, and your destination can also be in some other EU country. So this is the connection I will be using, and immediately you can see that it doesn't actually take that much longer than flying. So 8 hours was the flight, and this is going to take 9 hours and 30 minutes, so not much time penalty here. And if I were to book this today, which, to be fair, in comparison to the flight, because I also researched this today, it would cost quite hefty 215 euros, so 65 euros more than the flight. I booked it quite a bit in advance, I think 2 weeks ago, and also I have like this Deutsche Bahn rebate card where you get 25% off each journey, and so it just cost me 95 euros. Good, so that's the summary for the trip to get to London. So I think for going to London it's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah. Hardly takes any longer and hardly costs any more, and if you pay well in advance it even costs less. And I'm thinking the journey can also be quite fun, because I'm going via Brussels and I will be staying 3 hours in Brussels. That's also part of why it takes so long, because you're staying 3 hours in Brussels. And yeah, so I will just be having dinner or lunch, not quite sure about the time, in Brussels. Hey. Good. The next leg of the journey is a bit irrelevant to this video. We will be going from London to Damien's place, or well, this is close to Damien's place, in an electric taxi. I'm sure there's going to be a video about that. Yeah, so that should be pretty straightforward, more or less, as much as it can be with a home build converted car. Well, it's not home build, it's professional. So anyway, now the real adventure starts once I want to go back home. Let's take a look at that. So this is kind of the route, theoretically 1500 kilometers by car. And let's start again with the flight. So the flight, apparently it became more expensive while I was trying to book it. So meanwhile it's 233 euros, and we have to add to that another 20 euros to get to the airport in Ireland, in Dublin, and another 30 euros to get from Frankfurt back to Kassel. So 280 euros for the flight. Let's compare this for the other way to do it, with the other way to do it. So again, we start out with Mello, same as the flight, takes us roughly 2 hours to get to Dublin. And then, yeah, probably take this option right here. And then in Dublin, no, let's go back. I would probably rather take this option. So start at 11 o'clock. And then in Dublin, I take a ferry to Holyhead in Great Britain. And that's pretty much in the afternoon. And there's no train that leaves in the afternoon and takes me straight to Kassel. Like, there's no night trains or anything. It seems from London to mainland Europe, just anywhere. So, well, this means I have to stay overnight somewhere. And I found there's still a train that would take me to London, so at least I can get that far and then find a hotel or hostel or something in London, which also adds to the cost, of course, travel cost. And then on the next day I will return by the same train that I came with. So what's the time this takes? So we started Ireland at 11 and we arrive at Germany at 5 on the next day, which makes it 24, I don't know, 30 something hours. As opposed to, I'm guessing, like roughly 10 hours with the flight, with all the overhead and trains and stuff. Yeah, so 3.5 times as long, I would sum up. And let's look at the cost. So it's 20 euros to get from Mello to Dublin. It's another 50 euros to get from Dublin to Holyhead. It's another, this is 93 euros to get from Holyhead to London. And then in London I'm gonna have to take a hotel or hostel. I don't know how much that's gonna cost. Let's just say 100 euros. And then let's just assume the same deal that I came with, 90 euros, 95 euros. Because I couldn't research it. If I press this button, it just times out. Yeah, so this adds up to 360 euros for taking the train. So, how much was the flight? 280 or something. So I'm paying 80 euros extra to travel 3.5 times as long. And yeah, it got me thinking, maybe should I take this one plane? But it seems I'm in this vegetarian mindset, like if you're a vegetarian and you could have a sausage right now, or you would have to wait another 6 hours to get your vegetarian meal and pay twice as much for it. Would you go for the sausage? Maybe if you're really starving. Well, you wouldn't. So, yeah, I think I will go for the long journey. It's going to be an adventure by itself. I will be able to spend the time. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting in a car staring at the road for 35 hours straight, but I will just be sitting in some train or ship or whatever, and I can read books and kind of spend the time in a fun way. Good. I hope this was in some way interesting to you. To know about my travel plans and to know what the alternatives to flights look like. And yeah. Anyway, I might see you in Ireland or London on the next video. So, until then, bye bye.